A year ago, I read a screenplay every day for a month, and it was here that I came across an exceptional script, Being the Ricardos. It was the first Aaron Sorkin screenplay I had read, after having completed his Masterclass a few years prior. And boy, oh boy, was it a refreshing read. A real page-turner, some may say. I highly recommend reading it if you can find it. But to circle back to his Masterclass, I completed it this year again, as I'm in a bit of a funk with one of my screenplays. There were a few insights that inspired me not to quit on my screenplay. And my hope is that by sharing these points, it will reinforce these lessons into my mind, but also act as inspiration for anybody needing some wise words from a legend in screenwriting. I've included some timestamps, so feel free to jump around to a specific section or return to a section like I'm sure I will in the future. But with that, if you're ready to get into the video, give me a thumbs up and let's get started. Welcome to
Notes from the Pros.
Like Aaron, he seems to keep things simple, which is refreshing, especially with all the elements you juggle when putting a screenplay together. Aaron kept coming back to the same thing throughout the entire course: intention and obstacle. What does your character want and what's getting in the way of it? And press on that. No, really, press on it. Are there other alternatives, easier solutions? Off the top of my mind, if your character wants to quit their job, but their obstacle is that their boss didn't show up for work, that's probably not a good enough obstacle, because they could have sent an email or told another manager. On the other hand, if your character wants a promotion, and the obstacle is that they need to complete a project that pushes them to their limits, well, that could be a good obstacle. For fun, let me know about a film that you really enjoy, where there's an example of a character wanting something and them having to face a big obstacle to achieve it. I'll share one that comes to mind, which is Miss Congeniality. Here, the Sandra Bullock character wants to prove that she's actually great at her job, while gaining back the respect and the trust that she recently lost by not following orders. The obstacle she faces is that she needs to go against her feminist beliefs of entering a beauty pageant to do this. Constantly meditating on intention and obstacle seems like a sure way to remain focused and not drift off on other tangents. Let's move to character development. It's interesting to see the different approaches that screenwriters take. Aaron doesn't write long biographies of his characters. He says that his characters are born from intention and obstacle, as well as the tactics that the character uses to overcome their obstacle. He mentions that it's not really helpful to think of your characters and what they were like when they were 5 or 6 years old, because the characters are born when the lights come on. They don't really exist before then. So he uses the example of wanting to include a joke about creamy peanut butter in your screenplay, and how that should be the moment you know that your character likes creamy peanut butter. I took this note: don't show the audience who the character is, show the audience what the character wants. Powerful. I've often heard of people referring to his dialogue as Sorkinese. I mean, come on. That's when you know you've made it as a writer. Here are some notes that I took from what he had to say about dialogue. Imitating the way people really talk is not a goal of his. He's physical when he's writing, he's talking out loud. He performs dialogue to test whether the words are speakable. Then the rules of music apply. So think about cadence, tone, volume, and rhythm. Also, dialogue doesn't always need to be catchy and crisp. There's a dialogue case study in his masterclass which taught me that sometimes dialogue can be stilted or awkward, and that this brings formality to a conversation. I recently had a table read for one of the screenplays that I'll be pitching this year. I'm in a phase where I'm making final tweaks, so I asked my talented actors for notes based on what Aaron inspired me to look for. The main question Aaron encourages you to ask is, did you understand it? He encourages that you listen for problems, not solutions, as well as being mindful of who it is that you're listening to. Finally, even at his decorated level of success in the industry, he shared that even he gets notes too, and that he doesn't always get it right the first time. Hopefully that's as encouraging to you as it is for me. In the masterclass, he creates a writer's room. In my last video, where I profiled Shonda Rhimes' masterclass, well, Shonda lays the foundation and gets you mentally prepared for a writer's room. I highly recommend finding out what she had to say about a writer's room if this is something that you're potentially very interested in. However, Aaron tries to recreate a writer's room. He encourages bad ideas and paints a picture of how slow things actually go in a writer's room. He gave the writers space to share their ideas And he led the room really well by communicating how his show works best and where he could lose the pulse of the show as well. The big takeaway for me from a writer's room was knowing where the show is at its best and feeding ideas into that as opposed to steering too far away from that. All of this forms a great set of boundaries that you can play within. I could go on and on, but I would be robbing you of hearing all of this directly from his mouth. So if you actually do end up doing the course, let me know about it below. If you found this video valuable, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. And subscribe if you'd like to see my final episode in this
Notes from the Pros
series. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.